Well, what's up, guys? How are you guys doing? Pretty good, I hope. Happy May the 4th. Um, Thanks for letting me come a little later. It makes my life a little easier. Uh, but yeah, let's get into it. There's a lot I want to talk about tonight, especially about the future of like edits and where future edits are gonna be going. Shoya says sup. What's up, guys? Hey Wookiees, I just saw Thunderbolts. I cried. Will you be able to Discord after? Probably. Yeah, I probably will be able to Discord after tonight. Yep. Glad you like Thunderbolts. I haven't seen it, but I want to. So I figured tonight what we could do is I could share something that I've been working on for quite some time that's like in the previs stage. So I want to give a huge disclaimer before I share it that this has quality kind of like all over the place. There are some shots that look like, oh, if there was better 3D models here, this shot could be done. And then there's others that are literally just like a screenshot of a comic book to do placeholder. Before I show it to you guys, though, I figured I'd talk a little bit about it and kind of give a rundown on what this edit is, what I'm trying to do here, and that I have really, really big plans for the sequels. And then after we show this, I can give a pretty big to me, it feels big to me, announcement about this specific edit. Commander Cody Custom says, hello, what's up, man? How are you? So this edit, if you've been following the Discord, you might know it, but if not, to catch you up, it is adding Jedi back to the sequel trilogy. It would be a massive overhaul to the story of the sequels. They would barely appear in 7 and get like some mentions in The Force Awakens, and then I would have to do a major overhaul of the flashbacks in Episode 8. So we're focusing first on the third flashback of the film, where Luke kind of tells the entire story of Kylo Ren turning to the dark side. And instead of it just being like, oh, it's Kylo Ren turning, what we're going to do is, instead of just having Luke's monologue, we're going to go from Luke's monologue to actually kind of see what transpired the night that Luke's temple was destroyed. So we'll go from Rey and Luke fighting in the rain. Then Rey is going to say like, hey, tell me the true story. Tell me what happened. Did you make Kylo Ren? Luke is going to confess that he went to go and confront Ben, that he sensed darkness, and then in this edit, Ben is going to attack Luke. Kylo Ren is going to attack Luke. I don't want Luke to attack Kylo Ren. I understand that like in the original piece, it was trying to be like Luke was acting on pure instinct, but I just think that it makes a lot more sense if Kylo Ren is the one who engages the fight and he feels caught in his in the dark side. Like, so he's going to react as a dark side person would. But one of the things I want to do with Kylo Ren's character is set him up to have a like false idea of his badness. Let me explain. That didn't really make sense. So the idea is Kylo Ren will think that he destroys Luke's Jedi temple, but it will actually be other outside things that destroy Luke's temple and manipulate Ben into like going down the dark side. This was always a part of his plan. So when we hear that like Ben Solo was manipulated into the dark side and he's this very manipulated character, we don't really experience a ton of that other than his relationship with Snoke. So here is, I guess we don't even see how he was manipulated into the dark side, more like how he is currently being manipulated by Snoke. But this would be one example. So we will see Snoke like use a new kind of Star Destroyer. I'll explain all of this. We'll go through it once just as a thing, and then I'll go through it and pause it. Then we will go into some surviving Jedi fighting off like the Sith ghouls, and we'll see how they talk to Luke after the fact. Everything right now is just me voice acting. I'm not that talented a voice actor. I always try and find other people to help me out. But yeah, why don't we just get into it? Are the Knights of Ren going to be involved? Not here. I think the Knights of Ren, because so I'm not too picky on like canon stuff. Like if it makes sense to try and retcon something that's a part of the original continuity, I'm fine to do that, because I mean we're making a fan edit here, so we're going to be doing that by the nature of a fan edit. But I am really in love with the Rise of Kylo Ren comic book, and whenever I find a story that I think is really, really good, I like that. I want to make sure that I'm honoring the good stories and retconning the bad stories, if that makes sense. And that's not just my like overview of like what I deem good and bad, but what I think is a natural consensus from the community, along with, you know, a little bit of my preference, because these are a lot of my passion projects. But yeah, why don't we get into it? I'm gonna have to skip a little in, just because everything with Rey and Kylo uses the original music, and I'd rather not get this stream taken down. So I think we'll start here, and if the stream just magically disappears, well, I'll figure that out. So let me make sure this is on, and then I'm gonna mute myself.
Sensed it building in him. I'd seen it in moments during his training. But then I looked inside, and it was beyond what I ever imagined. Snoke had already turned his heart, and the last thing I saw were the eyes of a frightened boy whose master had failed him.
Get to the evac point. Find the others. Go. Kyle, what happened here? Snoke's forces. They came out of nowhere. These things, they reek of the Sith. How many died? Hard to say. We got the younglings out. The Padawans, too. You and I are the only masters left. If we move now, we can regroup, track them, strike before they can vanish. No. We'd lose everything. The Jedi can't survive another purge. Ben. He turned to the dark side. I don't know how to save him. Ben is still out there. He is one of us. The Jedi can save him. Together. No. Please take the survivors to the Kloss Temple. Wait for me there. I will call you when it is safe. Luke, Jedi don't look what they did here tonight. Kyle, I need you to protect them. Please. Alright. We'll wait. May the Force be with you, Master. I'm sorry, Kyle. I failed you. I failed them all. I failed Ben.
You failed him by thinking his choice was made. It wasn't.
Alright. They should be able to hear me again. Excuse me. So, yeah, I always feel so gross showing this kind of early development stuff. And if this was if this wasn't a fan project, I probably wouldn't. Just because this is how, I go about making sure that I know I get to play with all of the toys before the filming date, which is kind of the little announcement, big to me. But, yeah, as y'all can see, I'm trying to bring Kyle Katarn back to the sequel trilogy. He was always one of my favorites from playing the Jedi Academy game. I didn't really play the Dark Forces games, but I recently binged watched a whole live stream, or not a live stream, but a whole stream without commentary, just because I was like, I need to know what happens and I need to know this character. There's some pretty crazy stuff that happens to him that I'm like, this is going to have to be a canonical interpretation of Kyle. But I think I really like how he would be a part of Luke's academy, and I think he would be a great Jedi to have as a person who represents the Jedi Order at this time, kind of like what Mace Windu did for the prequels. So he would be hopefully pretty cool to see, but also recognizable, and with there's some other deeper ideas that I had for. I needed someone who was like Luke's equal but slightly below him, so someone who had a lot of experience but wasn't Jedi Grandmaster Luke Skywalker. And I thought maybe a new character couldn't necessarily fit in that role as much as someone who's established. And for anyone watching this fan edit, they'll probably have an idea of who Kyle Katarn is. And if not, then at least oh, okay, this, you kind of get the vibe that this is Luke's right-hand man. Thank you. So, it's so good. I love it. Like I said, slightly long, but it's a really good concept. Thanks. I think, I don't know. I think I might make it a little longer. I think there are some parts right in here where we go from Snoke, where we just need more Jedi dying. Because we get this one dying here, and then these two killing off a monster, and then Kyle kills a monster. So with the flames in the back, it really sells it. But I think having more death right after Snoke calls for like death by the monsters. We should get some more of those. Let's see. Are you AI cloning Luke's voice in the final version? I might clone his voice, but I've used a I have a voice actor in mind, and I think the best way to get like the best performance is to kind of use a mix of both. So it'll probably be a mix of both. It just depends on the voice actor's availability. But out of all AI voicing, Luke is probably one of the easiest to get right. Let's see. Thank you for Katarn. His lightsaber is going to be green, right? Good idea with Star Destroyer. I think his lightsaber is supposed to be blue, and I'm basing it off his Jedi Academy appearance. That's kind of like where my connection with the character is. So I think he should have blue, and I like the idea that if Kyle and Luke were on a mission, they would have a green and blue dynamic. But if his lightsaber is supposed to be green, then it will be changed to green. I'd rather have that kind of accuracy. But I also think he's also more related with the blue saber. So I think as of right now, I want to keep it as a blue saber. His dad's lightsaber is green. Kyle's lightsaber is blue. That's right. That's what I remember from one of the older ones. Yeah. Yeah, I think his will be blue. So, yo, what's your opinion on Madame's knowledge, Revenge of the Sith? Madame's knowledge on Revenge of the Sith Ultimate Edition. I don't know about that one. I know the one that I'm working on with Crimson Mall. We released a trailer today, like a little teaser that I made. Oh gosh. Sorry, y'all. I thought I muted it. Sorry, that's always so embarrassing. Oh well. Happens when I talk for like more than 8 seconds every time. Honestly, I don't know Kyle too well, but I'm just happy to see this time period fleshed out more. I think that's what this time period definitely deserves. One of the things George Lucas did when the sequels got a ton of hate, or I'm sorry, when the prequels got a ton of hate, is he just doubled down. He said, "Oh, you don't like this era? I'm gonna flesh it out even more," and he fleshed it out until people didn't hate it anymore. That's not entirely true, but a little bit. I mean, he made a ton of shows, and it was the first TV show was in that era. You guys get it. Yeah, let's just go through this for a minute and kind of break it down scene by scene. So originally, I had it to where we actually got to see inside the Force Vision. This is based off the Ivan Ortega cut. I had some of the voiceover changed. But I think I'm actually going to move that moment earlier. So it won't be erased, but I think this moment is more about what actually happened that night. So one of the things, Luke isn't going to attack Ben, right? So Ben is going to kind of feel like he's been caught, and then he's going to react. I'll have to get that green lightsaber out of his eye, but that's not a problem. Then I'm going to have to film some scenes of getting out of rubble to match this whole aesthetic. Some AI art. I think whenever I'm using legacy characters, some of the first and easy things, one of the easiest things I can do is like close up on hands. My edits will probably feature some of that. So him busting out of the rubble with like a hand, like we can do that. This shot probably won't happen. It's more of representative. I'll probably do more of a silhouette from behind with like a moonlight or something, or just seeing another angle of him getting out of the wood. So this is an idea I had based off the Kylo Ren comic, where in the comic book, spoilers, Kylo Ren goes up to Luke's Jedi temple, and he accidentally creates or conjures like a force storm, and that shoots lightning and destroys the temple. I'm fine with that, but I also was thinking this is an opportunity for us to like show how he was manipulated into turning into Kylo Ren and how he was manipulated into turning into the dark side. So when Kylo Ren in episode 8 tells his side of the story, we will not see this scene. So we've heard Luke's side and we've heard Kylo Ren's side, and now we're kind of getting the true side of events. In the true side of events, we're going to see Kylo Ren walking down a path, but then we're going to get a pan up to see a Star Destroyer hiding in the clouds. I want these to be... The idea of this specific Star Destroyer is that it's a, like, Zeiston Star Destroyer, so it needs to be... first off, it needs to be, like, the Star Destroyer from the, like, first one. First class of Star Destroyer where this thing is like tilted up. But the Zeistons are all equipped with dreadnought weapons and in my edit and in other people's edits. In the original film, they're attached with the planet killing ones. They're the ones that we see in episode 9. And this one is going to be a prototype of the ones that we see in 9. So it doesn't shoot a giant laser or bombardment, but it shoots lightning based off the Operation Cinder technology. So the ship can be well established in the lore. It was a gift to Snoke, as Snoke is recruited by Palpatine to go out into the galaxy and find a suitable host that Palpatine can pass his essence transfer into. So one of the things, so when he says the Sithari's vessel is waiting, he's talking about Ben turning to the dark side. He's like, okay, now that Ben is Ben is waiting for, we need to act now and shoot this giant lightning bolt so that we can make Ben think that he has done this horrific act. So very placeholder, but you can kind of see the idea of this lightning cannon, and then the temple would be destroyed. Ben, we would see a silhouette of him, and then he would just be running away, and the vessel is coming to me. And he's referred to as a vessel because that's all Snoke sees him as. He's just a means to accomplish his life's mission of bringing Palpatine a suitable host. Once Ben has left the planet, you would kind of continue on with Ben's comic book run. So you kind of get to see the rest of this story from Ben's perspective in that issue. But for our case, what would happen is once Ben has left the planet, and I don't think I need a shot for that here. I think it's implied that once Ben runs away, that he's gone. Like I don't think we need a shot where it's like, oh, okay, safe and secure. I think we just keep the momentum going. But in the lore, Ben is off-world at this moment, where Snoke would have these, like, I've been calling them like Sith ghouls. And I think that these ghouls are like from the comics where they fight Darth Vader and Exegol. That's at least what they're based on right now. But if you guys have any ideas for what these could be, the only thing I really want to hit is that they are melee based characters. So the Jedi have people who to fight against who are strictly using melee weapons. And I like the idea that they would just kind of be hung up and strung up. So that, like, to show, like, these are creatures and monsters and not people. They're not taken care of well. They're just hung up. And then when it's time to attack the enemy, they're simply dropped like bombs. Then we would go into seeing them attack with my very janky animation here. This is so janky. You could have them be like the Night Sister zombies, so green smoke glow. That's a pretty good idea. I wonder if I put a twist on it and have like some blue smoke glow or red, just to show the difference between like witch magic and like Sith magic, to show that there's something weird about. I also want them to be like really big, like kind of giants. Not like step on you giants, but more like tower above you giants. So I think, yeah, the biggest critique I've gotten so far whenever I showed this to for the first round of revisions with the internal team is we need more death at the beginning. This isn't a massacre without death. And I'm like, you're right, because we see one guy die, the rest are implied. And then, like, we see these two Jedi working together to defeat one, which is kind of implied that if these two are younger Jedi, that it takes about 2 of them to kill one. So, and like Kyle, he can take one, but that's only because he's a master, and he's more advanced. He's seen some stuff. He's been through wars. These younger kids haven't. This shot looks very, not this one, the one with Kyle. I will say this one is probably the closest, effects-wise, we are getting to the final. So let me be very specific, like in terms of the glow, the lightsaber, how the character fits into the scene. Like, for example, in the last shot, like this guy's head is gone, this guy's arm disappears, and then yeah, like his arms and stuff, like that's unacceptable for the final, but this guy doesn't really have that. And then the lens effects here, the glow, the lens flare, that would all be final. What wouldn't be is, of course, this guy's animations. The monster would have to be animated, and it would have to be animated well. The temple, the environment would need to be a lot better. I'll probably be using a lot of these same tree assets because they're very high resolution and drag and drop, but right now I just kind of threw them into the background. But it'll probably be the same like lighting condition where I have a big temple on fire to the left. I probably won't duplicate the same fire asset a million times, where you can see it's literally like the same flame, just duplicated. I'll make sure to make that feel realistic. Yeah, but I am really happy with the quality of this one, to the extent, and also the actor will be not me, and it will be in full wardrobe. And then the lightsaber effects, and you can see the immediate dip in quality as it's just representative. Shots like this will be overhauled. This one, pretty proud of. I want to give a huge shout out to Crag, who has been, he's a guy on the Discord who has been vital at coming up with ideas and helping me break out the scene on the back, like on my end of things before I present it to you guys for like a community critique, because this isn't just my edit. I want to include all of y'all's ideas. I want to see what y'all think, dialogue wise, You can throw it in the chat. You can DM me privately. You can email me. I'm happy to... I want as much input as I can. I can't promise I'll use the input, but I want to absorb as much input as I can so that I can make sure that, you know, we've gone through all the possible ideas with this scene and that we are hitting something that serves the direction of the story that I'm trying to go in. Back to what Crag found was he found some behind the scenes shots where the Mark Hamill full wardrobe in this scene is standing in front of a blue screen, and I'm like, well, that is too good to pass up. So I cut him out. I added the background, and like this is another shot that I'm like, this could, you know, I rendered it at very poor settings to just like get it like boom boom boom, get it out there really really fast. So like a lot of this you can probably even see on your end, it's just super smushy. Like it just looks fuzzy and blurry and like warped. So whenever I render this at a higher resolution, it'll look a lot better. I can replace the model of the hut. Is stream deleting my messages? I don't know. I haven't been paying attention to stream. I haven't been. But yeah, I hope stream isn't deleting your messages. Anyways, yeah, hut will be a better 3D model. It'll and then of course these very janky rocks will be actual rocks, but I think this will be the composition I go with. I think it matches the original composition. I'm kind of locked to the angle that we get in the behind the scenes. And then yeah, one other thing is you can see the values in his color change. So he goes from like this very dark to whiter here, and that's because when they were filming there was smoke and they had a smoke machine, so I will have to emulate that along with these sparks. And you might notice in my scene there are no sparks. In the original scene there are sparks everywhere, so I'll have to add sparks everywhere and debris. I really like this shot. This is another shot this is another thing I got from the behind the scenes where I was able to cut out Luke. And then I'm like, oh, because I have Luke here, I can actually frame the surviving Jedi and Kyle and really establish where everyone is in the scene really quickly. So that whenever we start like fast cutting, because originally we don't know where anyone's at, we just see chaos and fighting, and that's a narrative motif I'm using to kind of show the chaos, that the audience doesn't really know where things are at, but that chaos of not knowing where things are at is a part of the storytelling that I'm implementing, where we don't know what's going on, and then as soon as Luke comes into the picture, then you get the establishing of where everyone is at and where like the audience can finally like settle down and the monsters are gone. And then this scene, this hand model is honestly really really detailed. It's super high. It doesn't look that detailed because it's not well animated at all, and because I didn't texture it properly. I just went metal, done, and then I added his blaster mark because I was like, I gotta add that. But like as a still frame, you can kind of see what I'm saying, where it really looks good. But yeah, in motion, it doesn't look as good. I'll have to study his hand here. But yeah, this is where I cut out all the audio. I will also upload this as its own video. So if my audio, I got some notes saying that my audio wasn't as good on the stream. I'll make sure that I get this posted as a work in progress on YouTube, like right after the stream, so that you guys can see it on your own time or in better audio conditions or whatever. But in this part, I wanted to remove a lot of the sound and just have like a heartbeat, or like just a thing that kind of shows that Luke is like having a panic attack right now. The son of Anakin is panicking. Anyways, then we would cut to Kyle like trying to break Luke out of his spell, to kind of just show that Luke is out of it. We don't want Luke as a conscious, like as a very conscious person right now. He's having the worst moment of his entire life. So this is when Kyle starts giving orders, which would normally be something Luke would do. And Luke is going to break the silence with a question that he doesn't really want to know, but he's like, what happened here? And this is a way for Kyle to kind of explain to the audience some of the new storytelling that we're doing. But it's not simply for the audience, it's also for Luke to understand the threat, so that once Luke understands the threat, he can give Kyle orders on what to do next, which Kyle is going to butt heads with a bit. So this shot will have to be all fixed up, of course. I'll probably, just the nature of fan edits and edits like this, especially with legacy characters that I don't have access to filming, I'll probably be utilizing a lot of shots like this for Luke. For this specific scene, I think it works really, really well. We see Luke like having a crisis, and then that's the last time we get to see his face. And then we're hovering around him the entire time. This also gives me really, really good reference. So, I said I had an announcement on like a filming date or a while back. I don't know if I said it. Yes, at the end of the month, it's on the calendar. I have a date this month for filming with my actor. If you'd like to like see what the actor looks like, it's in the Discord link, so you can kind of get some behind the scenes of that. He's a really, really talented guy, really great guy. I'm really excited to film with him. He very much looks the part, and he has he's like a disc golf enthusiast and has the athleticism to pull off some of the lightsaber techniques that we're going to be doing. So whenever I go to film, because this is kind of the rub with Kyle, is I really think I get one or two chances filming with him, with my actor. He just has a very busy schedule. We're both living real lives with a whole lot of other stuff, but so with his very limited time, I really don't want to take advantage of like, oh, let's film this. I have done test runs, like y'all saw this. So I've run test runs with myself, and this isn't my first. This is like my 100th, but I just really wanted to brush up before the end of the month. But now I can even look like at this shot. So I'm like, okay, I have my 3D model and I have my 3D space. So whenever I go to film my actor on the day, all I have to do is match this shot. So I know where to put my lights, I know where to put my character, I know where to put my camera. And it's all pre-planned, so that on the day of, it just like boom, boom, boom. We can just get through all of them, all of his shots, and then focus on the quality versus, is the camera in the right spot? Should the light be over here? Should the light be over there? We need all of that settled beforehand. So that's kind of why we're also getting this previs before, like, say, other previs stuff that I would love to work on. Because this one has a deadline that is at the end of the month, and we want to do the best we can with it. So then let's get back into the story real quick. Um, so I wanted to name drop the Sith here to foreshadow their involvement in Episode 9, because one of the things that the sequels really failed to do was simple setup and payoff. So, throughout the trilogy, we need hints or setup of a dark side army or a dark side enemy. So if he says these things reek of the Sith, that implies that, you know, Kyle and Luke might think that the Sith are still out there. I really want the audience should be like, wait, aren't the Sith dead? So there's already that question lingering, so that when Episode 9 comes around, it's set up and payoff, and not, the Sith are back. Yep, they were always back. Palpatine was behind the whole thing. We didn't know, you didn't know. It was crazy. So also the fact that Snoke keeps talking about his master is a big hint at Palpatine. So this was a big thing that I had to go back and forth. Luke asks how many died. This is a way to establish what the size of the Jedi is. So Kyle is going to say that the younglings made it out and the Padawans too. One of the critiques I've gotten is that more younglings and Padawans should die in this moment. And on one hand, I agree. And on the other hand, I really like the idea that Luke would have prepared for an Order 66 level event. That he would have been a scholar of the past Jedi atrocities and put the younglings and the Padawans in a position that they could evacuate if the situation arose. And I think this situation the fact that all of the Padawans and all of the younglings make it out, show that Luke planned for the worst here. And the fact that the Masters all died is a testament to like how well Snoke's attack was, and that this is still a major hit. So I think I should put all the younglings survive. You know, if there's kids, they made it out. But I think most of the Padawans too is a fine line to say. So instead of all of the Padawans, it will be all the younglings, most of the Padawans. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. I think Kyle is the only master, Luke and Kyle are the only masters remaining, and that's important because Kyle, if you know the character, he's very much a character in this moment who would want to fight back. He's not the kind of guy that is just going to take this hit and run. He's very much a Han Solo with a lightsaber kind of character. So he's like, let's regroup, let's band together, let's go after them, let's track them before they disappear, because they can disappear. So let's do that. And the thing that makes him like different from, say, his past self or like the Han Solo-esque Jedi is that when Luke gives the final verdict as Grand Master, Kyle will respect it. He doesn't like it, but he respects it because there's only 2 masters left. And if Luke isn't going to take the kids, someone has to, and Kyle takes on that responsibility. He's far more comfortable in the action than he would be with the kids, but this is just the bad situation we're in. And if we take the Jedi and we put them into hiding, that explains why Episode 7, we feel the depravity of not having the Jedi around. So when we're searching for Luke in 7, and the Jedi are nowhere to be found, that would need an explanation if I'm adding more than Luke Skywalker. If we're adding a whole Jedi Academy, where are they? They need to be gone. So they're going to be gone for most of this edit. Then we're going to get a moment where Kyle and Luke talk about Ben. I'm not crazy about this dialogue. I really, really want to revisit it. If any of you guys are writers or have suggestions, I am all ears. I am more than willing to take critique on the dialogue or the entire scene really, and figure out how we can make this the best we can. If you have time and you want to email me or DM me with ideas on dialogue specifically, I mean, you can about the whole scene, but dialogue specifically, I'd love to hear it. The main thing here is that we need a moment where Luke is like, he's trying to be like, no, you need to go into hiding, or before he can even plan the next stage, he's still on the mindset of like, I can't believe I lost Ben. I'll put a Discord link in the description at the end of stream. That's a good note, Nick, who he has to drop a Discord link. By the way, Ryan said, hey man, very impressed with your work. Please keep it up. I'm planning on adding your clone VFX works to my edit of Revenge of the Sith. Thank you. That's very flattering that you guys want to use the clips I make. They are for you guys. They are for the only reasons those aren't available on the Discord is just because I promised Crimson that we would way back when that we were making stuff for this Ultimate Edition. But once it's done, it's out there for everybody. There is a couple exceptions to that. For example, in the Ultimate Edition, we're doing Fox, but there is a Thyre one that is available. And then be expecting some Clone Commando variants on the video I already made. So that'll be coming out soon. But yeah, I get sidetracked too easily. Let's finish the scene, and I'm happy to do more Q&A. So then we get the setup of Luke is sending him to the Kloss Temple. I kind of hate Kloss Temple because it sounds way too much like the Lost Temple, but that also kind of has a nice ring to it. The other idea is Asian, but then it says it sounds like you're sending him to the Asian Temple, which I don't want that to be misread either. And then the third option is send them to the Asian Kloss Temple, which is just like a mouthful that no one would realistically say. And I think the fourth option is probably the best, where you just say like the temple. For those of you who don't know, this is the Asian Kloss is the jungle planet in Episode 9, where the Resistance house their base. The goal is that Luke sends the Jedi to this jungle planet where I'm going to digitally add in a Jedi temple into Episode 9. So we get to see where Luke sent them. Again, set up and payoff. If we're going to send the Jedi to the temple, we're going to get to see that temple. It's little stuff like that I think will go really long way to making this sequel trilogy feel very connected. Instead of what feels like two directors fighting each other entirely. So I think we'll also get a little hit of Asian Kloss in Episode 8, but we'll get to that another day. So then Luke will say, I will call you when it is safe. And then Kyle is going to fight back. He's like, this is Jedi don't do this. Kyle not only learned the ways of the Jedi in the wilderness and a little bit from his father, and like he has a lot of life lessons, and he understands the way of the Jedi, and he has his own perception of the Jedi. So, and those two clash at times, but in this case, I think Kyle is very much leaning to the idea that the Jedi aren't just going to take this hit. Like, they're not going to go seek out revenge, but justice is something that they can seek out. Especially when the justice is not against Sith and they're like evil doers. So when Kyle says like, Luke, Jedi don't do this, and Luke interrupts him to like kind of like make him look at the tragedy again, this shows the downfall of Luke Skywalker in my edit. In this edit, he does not want the Jedi to end. I know that's a huge thing for some people. I think it doesn't make sense when there's more Jedi out there. So if I would rather see more Jedi than having Luke be the last of the Jedi. And yeah, so Luke saying, look what they did here tonight. This is the tragedy. Is he feels like he has lost Ben and almost everything he's built. So when he sends the Jedi into hiding, he's like, okay, I'm gonna go deal with Ben, and once I deal with Ben, and I kind of take on the problem by myself, because I've been, in the past I did this all by myself. I can do it all by myself. You guys just need to stay out of the way, because if I keep you safe, it goes back to Anakin, kind of the way that he loved Padme. He loved her to the point of like wanting to control her. Like, as long as he had her, it was going to be okay. And we're seeing a little bit of that in Luke, where Luke is like, no, I just need you to be safe. Just stay over here and I'll handle it, which is not the right way to go. So that is why Luke in this cut is not the last Jedi, but the lost Jedi. And then Kyle will say like, okay, I'll wait. He's reluctantly, and then we end on Luke saying, like, monologue. He's like, I failed everyone. And then it ends on, I failed Ben. Then we get this lightning hit to kind of like bring us back, and this is a new shot I added. And then we would get like Luke's face finally. After this whole scene, we only got a little glimpse of Luke again, and now we're finally back on his face, and we get to see his mug. Oh shoot, we're not losing anyone else tonight. That's good. I like that. Nick, that's a good. I'm gonna write that down. That's a good one. That's the one to beat so far. So then Rey immediately goes, you failed him by thinking his choice was made. I think I need to work that specifically into it. I kind of did. He's like, I failed Ben. Ben turned to the dark side. He's very definitive. Ben's gone. So whenever we end on I failed Ben, we're getting to do this storytelling technique where the flashback ends on verbiage that our main character can like talk to, and the audience knows that she's not talking to the flashback directly, but it feels like it is. It feels like she's answering the question, where Luke would say, I failed Ben. She says, you failed him by thinking his choice was made. It hadn't. It wasn't made. So you can see that'll naturally bridge us back into the diegetic scene. And then we just push on with the movie. So yeah, I'd love to know what you guys think about this. I'm filming Kyle at the end of the month. These other Jedi, it's gonna be kind of tough. I know I can get this guy in green, and I know I can get this guy in blue, but some of these other that are going to die at the beginning, I don't know when I can get them or who those actors are yet. So I will keep y'all posted as I make this. I definitely want to make some kind of video where I do my headcanon on Kyle Katarn's life in the new established canon. Some of the risks that are involved with bringing a character like him into the sequels like this is Disney could always, add him in to their own continuity, and you could just like it wouldn't fit this continuity. But I think I'm already too far gone to where these sequel edits kind of have their own expanded continuity. And I think what I'll have to do is, because I kind of cherry pick the books and the comics that I'm like, okay, this one can stay, this one kind of breaks the canon that I built. I think it would be a good, when all of this is said and done, to do like kind of like a review on like what books still would fit in my continuity, quote unquote. Let's see. Nick says, Luke taking, we are not losing. Yeah. Nick says CGI alien Jedi, I think, could make it work with the mocap suit. Actually, I was talking to Crimson Maul, and he had a really, really good idea for one of the Jedi that could die. And I've been nicknaming him Jedi Doug, but it would be to do like the same species as Sebulba, and having that character who walks on his hands and holds a lightsaber with his feet, being massacred in like 0.2 seconds, like getting him wiped out. So Jedi Doug could be so cool, and I was like, that would be it would be so interesting, even if he dies relatively fast, to see like how that Jedi would even walk and hold a lightsaber. Shoya, if you're serious about being a Jedi, I'll definitely hit you up on that for sure. I'm looking forward to getting some of y'all's help in the community on, and I think for some of the characters that, especially the ones who die, I don't think we need necessarily the nicest equipment, because I'm going to put y'all in a 3D space. So I can, as long as it's like a full body shot, I'll walk you all through. If I recruit you, I'll walk you through what I need. That's me just over explaining in the moment. But also, one of the things I want to do is I reached out to the Discord and said, hey, if you guys had your dream, if Jedi were added to the sequel trilogy, what some of the things you would want. And one of the responses was like a nice collage of all the lightsaber colors, within reasons, like mostly green and blues, but a yellow here, a purple there, would be really, really nice. And I think I should definitely do that. I'm curious when the Discord portion will be approximately. Discord, I'll do Discord after this stream. And then any news on episode 9 stuff. I mean, unfortunately, I've only been thinking about the Jedi in the sequel stuff lately. So whenever I ask for anything new, for any news for episode 9, I have all the Jedi stuff planned for episode 9. There's one kind of critical detail I'm still working out towards the end, but it's just one detail left, and then I think we have a solid plan, and I can previs the Jedi and their place in the Battle of Exegol, because I think it would be so cool to see them fighting the Red Sith troopers, and then probably doing a lot more than just fighting the Sith troopers. I think that would be where they would start. Plus, in this scene, we have Kyle, who it's just using his lightsaber, which there's nothing wrong with that. But if you played the game, he uses a blaster, a lightsaber. He kind of gets his hands on everything. So I think it would be really fun to see someone who is very proficient in dual wielding blaster lightsaber combo. Like like we've gotten to see a lot of different variations, and I think looking at like Jedi Survivor and some of the stances that Cal Kestis uses would be really fun to see how he combines a lightsaber and a blaster fluidly, in like a mix of close quarters to ranged combat, and being able to mix those two elements would be really satisfying to see and very unique for the final battle, and really give a nice motif to his character. So yeah, I've got a green screen lightsaber and a Jedi outfit I could use. Long hair and beard, kind of like Qui-Gon, though I'd probably be not a master because I'm not the same age as Qui-Gon. The master at Luke's academy, I think, are definitely young, so we're good. None of them are going to be older than Luke, really. Maybe Ahsoka would be older than Luke, but we're not going to talk about Ahsoka because in episode 9 she's a voice of the Force, and because her TV show is currently slated for season 2, we're not going to talk, the movies and Revenge of the Sith doesn't talk about her. I think we're good. But yes, Shoya, you and I are connecting afterwards. You could do Neo Temple Guard, since that would also let you do it yourself with your own suit and not have to work around other people's schedules. Oh, like a Temple Guard that would be super sick, actually. Okay, yeah, like what if we came up with our own concept and design for like what Luke's Temple Guards would be, recognizing that the Temple Guard was maybe like this thing that he's like, oh, we have to preserve this. I mean, I'm not necessarily a fan of the main run of the Star Wars comic books, but in that run, he does use a Temple Guard lightsaber for a portion of time, so it'd be really cool to see his reverence towards the act of guarding the temple. And it would be really fun to see them using like half-baked Temple Guard armor that, they've kind of scavenged or like found over the years, or they've tried to make their own variation on it. Could you add a Jedi with a double-bladed saber? We were so close with episode 9, and I didn't even think about that until just now. Yeah, I think having the Jedi with a double-bladed lightsaber would totally work. They might die, but yeah, I think that totally works. It would kind of show one of the things that I need to show quite rapidly, and with only really background and context clues, is how is Luke's Jedi Academy different than the old Jedi Temple? So if I have a bunch of Jedi with, Kyle's using a blaster, we have double-bladed lightsabers. I know prequel era Jedi had double-bladed lightsaber, but to like see them on screen too, it might show like that they were allowed to kind of explore some of their individuality a little more than the rigid cookie cutter Jedi of the prequels. The Temple Guards use them historically, 2 guards, 1 stone. Like just having 2 guards? Yeah, I think we could do 2 guards like around the temple. I think that could work pretty well. Cool. Well, I have about 13 more minutes before... Wait, how long have I been streaming? I don't know. Work pretty well. That's embarrassing. It doesn't really matter. I think I started at 9:40 something. So yeah, I think we can go for like 12 more minutes, and then I'll call it a night, and I'll hit up the Discord for some one on group convo or whatever. Let's see. What if you add those red guys in episode 8, the ones with swords and Kylo and Rey, into episode 9 battle so there can be some dueling? That's a good idea. I have thought about the Praetorian Guards, but my thinking is for episode 9, if I have the Jedi fight other melee combatants, I kind of want it to be something new, something that would evolve. So one of the things I want to do is I want to be evolving the bad guys. So if 2 Jedi can take on like 10 of those, then if I have a team of like 7 Jedi, then they're gonna be like, we got this. We need to come up with a threat scary enough to where if I have 7 Jedi, it would be something that scares them a little bit. Maybe a Jedi gets in a saber lock and Kyle force pushes during the episode 9 Exegol battle. I think that could be a scene that works. I don't know what saber lock. I don't know what battle I haven't explained the episode 9 Exegol battle yet, so I think that's a good concept, and it kind of works with what I'm going for. But yeah, we could do stuff like that. Roberto says, you have a vision. I love it. I'm happy with all the material you worked on, dude. Thanks. I'm glad I can make stuff that people actually like or pursue things that are worthwhile. And yeah, I don't want this to just be like adding stuff for the sake of adding it. I want to actually transform the story to where we can show these versions to people and have them actually fall in love with the sequel trilogy instead of it being this thing that is like, it's kind of like, hey, look at this broken toy I love. Do you love my broken toy? And people are like, no, it's broken. I don't know how to play with that. It's broken. But if we can glue some of the pieces back together, that might be controversial for some people who are like, no, they're not broken. They're broken. We're good. It's okay to say that they're broken and love that they're broken. We're going to, just like Kylo Ren's helmet, we're going to piece them back together and put red glowing or red stuff in between. It'll be great. I hope. I think it will. We'll see. I'll show y'all all the progress as I make it. So this is very far away, but we'll see. In episode 9 Exegol battle with Jedi, you could have one stuck and then Kyle use the Force to push him. I think in episode 9, the Jedi are going to need to be shown as people who collaborate and cooperate and work together well. I think having a scene like that could easily work. As of using mocap for some of the Jedi, I think that's totally doable. I think if I can use live action though, and do live action with CG elements, I should. There are exceptions, like for Revenge of the Sith, I don't think I should get a real life clone trooper armor. I think that looks worse than if you just siege it. That's what I nicknamed CGI, by the way, is you just siege it. So I think for a lot of those, and because all of the clones were sieged in the original, then it works to add them. Let's see. I think I don't have too much more to show. This isn't me hiding anything. This is just like a screenshot or concept art. I thought it was something, but it wasn't. Well, yeah, do y'all have any other questions for me before we go? Um, I will say, I will give a little tease. In regards to like this edit here, the Ultimate Edition, we were talking about Jedi guards earlier. It'd be pretty cool if they were in Revenge of the Sith, I think. Let's see. Nick says, I hope the Eclipse gets an episode 9. I hope so too. So what Nick is referring to is this piece of concept art. I can pull that up really quick. Where we are looking at like adding some shots, and let's see. So like this is a shot Nick is talking about where no, it's not. It kind of is. Yeah, this is the shot where this eclipse kind of happens over the temple. I would love to make a shot like this. I just need the right place to put it in the sequence. I also love this shot here, and I think I have to make something like this. I think something like this. I don't imagine this guy is Kylo Ren, by the way. So I don't think we put this guy as Kylo Ren, but I do think these guys are red Sith troopers. And I kind of want like a Dune moment, you know, where we get to see the army and there's just something weird going on where y'all, if you've seen Dune, the part 1, there's like this guy, and I'm pretty sure I could do this job like really, really well. Like I would quit VFX and doing this job in an instant if this Dune job became available, where this guy stands on like a platform and then he's just like and he just commands them by growling. I think I'd be really good at that. I don't think there would be any growling in this one, but maybe like as a sound, like a music cue kind of thing. But I do think seeing like a giant army like this before we go into battle would be a huge like motif to like you understand the threat before we see the threat. Andor is very, very good at that. They always point out the threat before you have to face it. Let's see. Any updates on your Mandalorian Book of Boba Fett stuff coming soon, or mainly focused on sequel trilogy right now? Great question. The next thing I'm releasing for Boba Fett is going to be a trailer. I would like to get that soon. For complete transparency and honesty with you guys, it is probably a lack of enthusiasm that has prevented me from putting that higher up on the queue, but it is not forgotten. It is not lost. It is coming out. I got your back. Anyone who wants to see those edits of Boba Fett and is like they're still worth it, we're in this together. I have part 1 completely done. Part 2 needs like 1 or 2 things. No, just 1 thing. And then part 3 is really all about fixing Cad Bane's head, and budgeting the time to do that, because that one's kind of a thing to get right. And then Mandalorian. So Mando's edit is actually completely done. The next thing I need to do for his edit is just nail that ending. I need to previs the scene and then do one of 2 things. Either commit and go full CG for the finale of his like half movie, or try and reach out to people in the 501st, see if I can reach out to the people in the community who are willing to help on the project, and then actually schedule a filming date, and then take some time to meet with this person and then film who hypothetically they might be, and make sure that we get what we need to really nail the Grogu Mando reunion that could have been. When I have the previs done, I will make a video kind of explaining what the edit is. For those who don't know, I'll make a whole thing where I kind of talk about like the story arc of the characters, where this is put in the timeline, what it's meant to be, and like how you should go about watching post season 2 of The Mandalorian with my edits. So yeah. Sieged Boba Fett standing up instead of falling on his back will be dope. Yeah, Shoya, I think I've shown this in other live streams or somewhere. If not, I'll just describe it here. But yeah, there's a moment in the Book of Boba Fett, his second episode of the trilogy, where in the original cut, Boba's knocked to the ground, but in my version, I painted that out and I just used a digi-double. It's so fast. I've had several people not... Actually, no one has called it out until I pointed it out. So it's really like a blink and you miss it kind of moment. Where instead of getting knocked down, Boba's just standing up next to... he's just standing up next to the piggies and his partner, what's her name? Mulan. She wears the orange and black helmet. I know her name. Remember, Boba Fett fan, I'm with you. I'm all the way. What's her name? That's gonna bother me. Fennec Shand. I did it. No one's typed it yet, so I did it. That was all in my brain. Yeah, and I think with that, there it is. Okay. I think that's it for stream tonight. It was good chatting with you guys. Good catching up. I hope. I know I talked a lot about the behind the scenes of the Kyle stuff. That's just been a ton on my mind. And with the filming date coming up, I mean, it sounds pretty far, like, oh, you have till the end of the month. It's not a lot of time. And then when I get there, it's a good handful of hours on like getting everything done and making sure that it's all right. So having these pre-rendered, pre-ready will be a huge lifesaver. And then I can actually revisit this previs scene and add the actor in if I wanted to. So we could like get all of this set up and then like start working the actor into it and get all of his shots done, or at least a couple of shots done, and I'll post that on the Discord and probably a work in progress on the YouTube. But yeah. All right. I will see you guys in the next one.